Hello and welcome to the SR604 broadcast. We are here at Circuit of the Americas for the Season 12 Gold Finale. Thank you all for joining us tonight. I have Smith in the booth with me as well as Joel, and let's have a good time. How's it going, guys?
Good, thanks for having me.
Hey, going great so far, Craig. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for having. So it looks like the guys are mostly parking up right now, getting ready for their quali. Probably checking fuels, checking pressures. Of course, that's all subject to change because they are going to be qualifying at a different time of the day than they are currently practicing in.
Yeah, so we definitely will see some changes in temperatures here tonight. Well, we're looking forward to see how that plays out in the race. We have a long one tonight, guys. 80 minutes, not the usual 50. So a little bit more endurance we should see from these guys tonight.
Yeah,
Circuit of the Americas. Sorry to cut you. Go ahead.
no worries. I know a lot of people have been talking about taking a tire and not taking a tire. What are your opinions on that, especially at Circuit of the Americas, with Sector 1 being so dependent on grip, on mechanical grip? I mean, how do you think that's going to play out with the strategy?
Yeah, so I heard some talk from down on the pit lane, some of the drivers and teams discussing what they would like to see from the race, and I'm hearing a mix of strategies. Some people looking to go long on tires. Some people will be looking to change to see if they can make up that gap. Some cars, wear differently to others, so it'll be interesting to see what the different drivers choose to do tonight.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
certainly will be. Go ahead, Joel.
yeah,
Or go ahead, Smith.
we have a smaller field too, so the qualifying will be pretty spaced out, I think. So they'll be pushing a lot in the quali, I think, too.
Yeah, we'll have 20-minute qualifying, and with just 15 guys, I mean, we're probably going to see a lot of really fast laps here, because they're going to have time to be able to put in a couple of bankers and then really start pushing with those bankers, set. So it'll be quite interesting to see. I think qualifying is going to be half the battle here, honestly.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really open and lots of room to really push, and hopefully they can hold it on track and put down a good time.
Alright, so we got 1 minute here left in the free practice. Got a couple of guys going around the circuit, but I'm imagining most of the guys are just kind of getting prepped, getting their waters, getting whatever they need done. Seeing how many... I wonder... I don't think there's going to be a massive scramble for quali, as we've seen with some of the other splits, because there's just only 15 cars on the field. So it'll be quite interesting. I wonder if all the guys are going to try to go out, around the same time, or if they're going to spend some time and just chill out in the pits, wait for the track to improve.
Yeah, I think you're going to get the guys who always kind of go out as fast as they can. They always want to be the first ones out, just to have a clear track no matter what. But you're right, they're going to have some room to breathe a little bit, take their time.
Arjun, I will let you know, brother. You are looking pretty good. I love that mint green. I know there was another individual that submitted their skin, or their livery, but I wasn't quite able to import it in time. My apologies on that. I believe that was Ivan?
Go,
Ivan?
go, go.
Yeah, Ivan or Ivan. My apologies that I did not get your livery set yet, but yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. Looking good,
Looks
Arjun.
like JD is out first of the gate there.
Yeah, looks like it. Car 55. Let's take a look at him, see what he's doing. I see a lot of alternate strategies with coming out and coming out for your out lap, I see a lot of people, you know, brake dragging almost like it's a formation lap, and then you have the guys that just try to push their car and get some heat into those tires. I haven't really researched it, but kind of an interesting set of strategies that you have there for sure.
Yeah, and to be fair, being more amateur myself, I do that on the formation lap, but I don't think I've ever done it in the quali to kind of give me that. But to be fair, I don't think I have as much room as these guys do. They've got a lot of room to kind of do that prep, I think. So
yeah, I certainly think that you're going to see some brake dragging on the back straight, just because it is so long. You want to make sure that you're not cooling those brakes or cooling those tires too much, especially since you're going to have the brake ducts a little bit higher just because of the amount of braking that you're going to have to do in Sector 1 and Sector 3. So they're really got to make sure that their tires are still up to temp, their brakes are still up to temp. That way their first flying lap is not going to be, you know, just absolutely awful on cold tires.
yeah, and surprisingly enough, JD's wide open. There's a bit of a queue behind him, so there's surprisingly a little bit of a queue, which is kind of fun. Yeah. Figured there'd be a little bit more space there, but
yeah, let's take a look. Arjun is leading the pack, it looks like, for the second train. Guys are starting to spread out a little bit, but not spreading out as much as I'd like to see, honestly.
Yeah, but I mean, it's the, you know, first lap, they'll spread out, I think. But yeah, I would have thought there would have been a bit more gap there.
Yeah, if we take a look at Peter over here, I mean, he's right behind the guy.
Yeah. I assume there's going to be some queuing in the end, too. In some spots, they're going to have to slow down.
Yeah, we'll see. So, we've got Arjun and JD on their first lap here. Let's take a ride with them and kind of see what it looks like. Sector 1 is very, very tricky because you have to cut the track to be able to get time, but if you take it just a hair too much, you will get that track penalty and you will have an invalidated lap. Not that major in the qualifying other than you wasted a hot lap, but at least in the race, we're going to see a lot of warnings and potentially drive-thrus. We did see a couple drive-thrus on Tuesday with the silver split from track limits, so guys will have to make sure. I mean, it's an 80-minute race, 4 warnings, and you get a drive-through, so they'll have to make sure that they keep it clean, especially through that first sector. Oh, Arjun cooking it a little bit too much in that hairpin leading to the back straight. Slid the car, didn't quite get an exit that he would have wanted.
Yeah, like you say, that first sector is going to be crucial. They're going to have to really push the limit, but at the same point, it's definitely has its pickles with track limits, so people are going to have to be cautious. But in the race, yeah, you're definitely going to possibly see some drive-throughs and penalties that will kind of shift the positions a little bit.
Yeah, I certainly would not be surprised, especially the guys that are pushing pretty hard to try to overtake, or the guys that are defending.
Yeah, it's definitely a little bit harder to pass, I think, in the first sector for sure.
Oh, it absolutely is. I mean, the main thing is to be consistent through there and try to defend the best you can, but you don't really have to do much to defend through there. So, JD with our first lap with a 2:06.7. That is a pretty rapid lap for a first flying lap. Let's see what the other guys bring in. Arjun setting in a banker with a 2:08.5, and Mercer getting ahead with a 2:05.6. That is ridiculously quick for a first flying lap.
Yeah, that is a really good lap.
Diaz falls behind with a 2:05.67. He's running into traffic though, so he might not be able to push as much as he wants to on this second flying lap.
Yeah, it looks like he's stuck there and might not be able to push as much.
See what happens. He did just invalidate his lap with that little bit of track, and you know, just that tiny bit of track that he cut across. I mean, that's all it takes for you to invalidate a lap. But now he
I was
has...
questioning that one. I thought it looked like a little outside there, so.
Yep, he did. And sadly, Arjun also did the same with his second flying lap, meaning he's going to have to go around one more time and try to keep some heat in those tires and in those brakes so that he can get his third flying lap in. But there is still plenty of time of qualifying, 14 minutes left. It's a 20-minute qualifying, so these guys are going to have plenty of time for what they need to do. Car 88 just went off track. I don't believe it was anything serious. I think they just parked to get a little bit more fuel or a better tune.
Sorry, I lost you here.
Not too much going on right now. We have Jeremy trying to extend his lead a little bit. He's got about a 10th negative delta here coming through the last turn. Let's see if he has a good enough exit to make that up, and he does not. So he will not improve his time right now, but he's still sitting on provisional pole with a 2:05.6. Still a ridiculously good time, especially considering he set that for his first flying lap, and he's still got plenty of room ahead of him.
Yeah, and the track will just get better and better with time, too. So being the first lap, that's a pretty good time.
Absolutely. I mean, I would find it a little hard to believe if that they had a perfect or an optimum track right off the bat, because they only had 30 minutes for practice, and with only 15 cars on the field, that's not a lot of time to get it to optimum.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. It was a very good lap to set first.
Diaz parking the car. JD looking to improve. He's got about 400 up coming down the back straight. Getting on the very edge of that track, braking on those curbs. Nailing that apex, running wide, but you can't run too wide because those sausage curbs will definitely get you. Now you're going through the tricky double apex here. It's two turns that you kind of have to act as one.
Yeah, any tire on that sausage curb, and you're definitely in the air, and if not losing a lot of time.
Yeah, and qualifying, especially in this gold split with these guys, you know, very seasoned drivers, very fast drivers, you know, just the slightest mistake, that little bit of tire running over the curb, and that'll be enough to ruin your quali lap.
Yeah, definitely.
JD gets a good improvement, but not enough to move him up at all. He is just a few hundredths behind Claus. Got to be a little bit frustrated about that. He stays in P4 as of right now.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few hundred separating Mercer and Diaz. I mean, you know, this is a very tight qualifying.
It absolutely is. Yvonne goes to P3. I'm not sure if he was there already or not. I don't believe he was, though.
No, I think he just set that.
So he set that with a 2:05.8, which is certainly an impressive time. And that is just about 7/10 quicker than Claus in P4. So let's see if Claus can do anything about that. Currently he's on an out lap, or an invalidated lap at the very least, but Porsche should be pretty quick around here, especially for Sector 1 and Sector 3. But you have to be...
Felix there, who's not far behind either with a 2:06.9, so he's in striking distance if he can improve.
Absolutely. I mean, JD is just... he is 200ths behind Claus, so he is very much in striking range to take that P4 away. But I'm sure he's going to be looking for something a little bit better, hopefully P3, P2.
Yeah, we got JD sitting in the pits as well, just kind of probably waiting it out a bit. You know, waiting for the track to get a little bit better.
Yeah, he's heading out right now. got a pretty good gap right now, so we should see a pretty decent lap coming up here in a little bit. Jeremy with a flying lap right now. He's about 1,500ths up, which is already fantastic since his provisional pole is still leagues faster than anyone else has right now. He did run a little wide on that corner, which did take out a little bit of his delta, but he did get a pretty decent last turn. Let's see if he extended that lead at all. And he didn't quite, but he was very close to extending his lead by another 0.2.
Yeah, it was pretty close there.
Got about 8 minutes left in qualifying. Most of the guys are out right now. Jeremy is in, but I believe he's... Yep, he looks like he's already moving to head out again. So we've got most of the guys out in the field trying to set a pretty good lap right now. And right now is the time to do it.
You got a few guys in there probably changing to an extra set of tires ready to go out. You got Turnbull, Ilpo in there, Klaus... I'll probably get new tires ready to go out.
Yep, Turnbull, just as you say that, Turnbull is exiting the pits now to get back on track. As Arjun goes past him to go on his flying lap. Doesn't quite get the exit out of T1 as I'm sure he wanted. Pretty tight sector 1 going through there. Hitting the apex is hard. A lot of people going over that sausage curb on the inside of, I believe that's turn 8 there.
She's coming down the backstretch there, warming up his tires. Getting ready. Looking to improve on the already provisional pole.
Yeah, he's still in striking distance of Diaz for sure. Diaz is currently in the pits right now, but certainly getting a little bit more comfort, a little bit more wiggle room will be very comforting for Jeremy. Peter O'Brien finally on the board with a P4 with a 206.29, and his delta is up by about 0.2 right now. Just coming into the hairpin for the back straight, so this might be a pretty fast lap. Beautiful pink McLaren. Can't miss it.
Yeah, it's hard to miss a big pink McLaren.
I do like that blue. It's a semi-metallic, and it works quite well with that pink. I especially like that rear wing.
Yeah, it does look good with the wing.
He is now 0.4 up on his current delta, which is just ridiculous. Let's see if he can keep that up a little bit.
Everybody's out for sure trying to look to improve on their times. So
yep.
Nobody's sitting in the pits. Everybody's got their new tires probably.
You are absolutely correct. Peter did lose his delta a little bit in that final sector there, getting a little bit too much slip from the rear, scrubbing some speed off. But he does improve by 0.2 or 0.02. That doesn't quite get him close enough to try to fight Ivan in P3. Jeremy working through Sector 3 right now. He is barely positive on his delta. But with how close and how fast this field is, even a few hundredths will make a big difference.
Yeah, it's a pretty close field there, so and Diaz still coming around there, just trying to improve again, trying to chase down Mercer.
Yep, he just started his flying lap here, so let's see what he can do. 4 minutes left on the board. There's really not too much time to be able to improve.
So what do you think? We'd get 2 laps out of that probably, if they're passing now?
Well, Jeremy will be able to get 2 more laps in, but pretty much everyone after that is going to be able to get maybe 1 more lap after their current lap, and that'll probably be it. They might be able to get another one in.
Yeah, we got Arjun in the pits there too, so probably looking to get out soon. Try and get 1 last lap in.
Yeah, I might be making some final tweaks here. Ilpo 3/10 up coming into Sector 3 here. Really trying to use as much track as you can without getting too far off and hitting those sausage curbs, which will punish you.
Yeah, I still can't believe how close the top 6 is. It's you know, they're pretty tight running there.
Absolutely. There's about a second from 6th place to 1st place, which sounds like a decent amount, but if you look, they're, you know, the 1st through 3rd is 2/10 difference, and then 4th through 6 is about 5/10 difference. So they are pretty close. They're all fighting for a little bit of that lead, and with how small this field is, any small amount, oh, Oppo with a not as great turn 1 as I'm sure you would have hoped for. But he will have another lap as long as he keeps this lap quick. A lot of these guys, ooh, I think we just had someone spin out a little bit. Hitch in Sector 1. Looks like he's alright. Doesn't look like he took anyone out. Or didn't, hopefully didn't get taken out.
Well, you got, you know, Mercer's at the top there. You got them, Mercer, Diaz, and O'Brien chasing down for the championship, so.
Jeremy just improved by 3/10, extending his lead to a 2:05.3, with 2nd place being 2:05.67. That pretty much cements him in P1 for the start of this race. Diaz is fighting back quite a bit, though. He's about 2/10 up, and he's not even at the hairpin for the back straight yet, so he's still got some fight in him for sure.
Yeah, he's got to put everything he has in this lap to make sure he tries to get that time. It's a smoking time, that one.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's not going to have enough time for after this, so he's got to make sure it's both clean and quick. Thankfully, Sector 1's already done and over with, and that's the one that'll get you most off track, but you still got to make sure not to hit those sausage curbs in Sector 3.
Looks like Klaus improved over O'Brien there. Took P5 so far.
You're absolutely correct. Just got 2:06.08. Not quite sub 2:06, but still a very respectable time. Jeremy is still out for another hot lap, and he is about 1,500ths up right now, heading into Sector 3. So we could see even more separation for P1.
Yeah, Diaz coming to the start-finish line now. He'll probably get another lap out of this.
Yep, he certainly will, as long as he has the fuel for it. He did improve by about 1,700ths, but that's not enough to get to Jeremy. It would have been if he had kept that 2:06.6 or 2:05.6, but of course Jeremy had to improve. Jeremy getting the invalidated lap, and that's going to be the end of qualifying for him with a 2:05.3, and Diaz does have one more chance to improve.
Yeah, he's got the one more shot to do it here.
As long as he can beat that max wait time, but that max wait time is not long enough to complete a lap as it is, so hopefully he's able to keep ahead of the clock there.
Yeah, let's see if he can put this lap down see if he can get that pole. Take it away from Mercer.
Now let's go ahead and ride with him. Going through the back straight here. Now he evidently does not like braking on those curbs, which is absolutely fair enough. That'll certainly activate the ABS pretty hard depending on what car you have, and with the Honda you need as much time as you can get. It's not an inherently fast car. Driver makes it. And the session ends. Not sure if there was everyone ended up getting hit there with a off track or if time ran out, but here we are with the starting grid. Let's take a look at the timing sheet right now. We are looking at Jeremy in P1 in the Aston Martin V8. We have Eric Diaz in P2 in the Honda NSX. We've got Ivan in the BMW M4 in P3. JD brings up P4. Peter brings up P5. Joel brings up P6. Ilpo in 7th. Zach Felix in 8th. Jake Stork in 9th. James Turnbull in 10th. And we have Oswin in 11th. Arjun in 12th in the beautiful Lexus. Let's see if I can take a look at that. We've got Mitch in P13 in the Audi R8. Evo 2, and Kurt Moss in P14 in the AMR V8. And we have, I'm not sure how to pronounce this name, Carrie Arnaud, my apologies if I absolutely butchered that, in the Mercedes AMG. And Rob bringing up the end of the field in the 69 BMW M4.
30 seconds.
Got 30 seconds until this formation lap starts.
That was quite the tight qualifying. So, and the temperature difference is quite different. So, you've just finished qualifying at 16 degrees. What are you doing now to prepare to kind of get your race going here?
Well, you got to make sure that you have your tire pressure set to what you need to get done. You know, you need to make sure that you raise it the proper amount, but you also got to make sure that this is an 80-minute race. Depending on what your strategy is, you might want to save the tires, which means you might need a little bit more pressure. That way you don't have to push as hard to get that heat into those tires. But if you're going for a two stint or two tire set, then basically you're going to be running a lot more aggressive. You're able to run that little bit lower pressure, which will allow you to push and get more heat into those tires. You know, it really depends on what you do, but tire pressure is absolutely crucial. And these guys have to make sure that from the time of their qualifying and their practice to the race, that they have the right tire pressure set.
Right. And they, you know, after the quali, everybody's kind of, you know, ready to go, getting comfortable, and, you know, they've got their, you know, their championship they're looking at, and they've got 80 minutes to run this down. So it's got to be nerve-wracking, kind of sitting there trying to work all this out and do your math and make sure you got it all set correctly.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, at this point, I'd be double-checking fuel, double-checking your first pit, making sure that you're taking tires or not taking tires, depending on what your strategy is. You've got the right amount of fuel selected. You've got your pressures correct. You know, all those things, you're sitting there while you're dragging the brakes, while you're swerving around, getting some heat in those tires. All the while, you're about to do an 80-minute race that may or may not affect your championship standings. So, there's certainly a lot of pressure here, but at the same time, you can't be too overwhelmed because you're about to go in T1, which is a hairpin after a long straight. You got to make sure that you're playing your cards right, and you're not about to take anyone out or get taken out.
Yeah. Do you think we're going to see a lot of people here going on one set of tires for 80 minutes?
I certainly see a few people doing that. It'll be hard to keep track of. Sadly, ACC does not have the greatest tools in being able to see who took what, and everything like that in the pits, but we'll certainly see it in the standings if we pay attention. You know, we'll definitely see the people that are come out of the pits and they're 15 seconds ahead of where they were before. But those guys are going to be losing a lot of grip at towards the end of the race, and in silver that did make quite a difference.
Yeah, I think the smart move is going to be to change tires, because you're going to want to push. You know, from what I see from the field, I think they're going to want to push here.
Yeah, I know the front guys probably will. You know, they have a lot of pace, and they're going to be hoping on their skill to just be able to run away from the other cars, but some of the guys in the mid-pack or in the back of the pack that are a little bit safer drivers in general that don't want to attack as much or don't want to defend as much, they might be taking a little bit of a safer strategy and just trying to conserve those tires and hopefully get a good standing out of that. But we'll see.
Good mix of cars too. Good mix of manufacturers.
Absolutely. We do have one car starting from the pits. That's going to be Arnaud in the Mercedes. Probably didn't hit that drive button quick enough. Hope we'll see him around during the first lap, but depending on how it goes on this first lap here, they're getting ready to go out. Lights are ready to go out. They're going through the final turn to get on the first straight. Got the lights right there. And the lights go out, the green flag is waving. We have everyone coming out of the pits, or coming out towards this first stretch here. Got a couple guys going 2 wide, 3 wide into turn 1. Oh, slight bump in the back. We've got some spun cars. Looks like they were able to recover though. We did have a little bit of bang going on there.
Yeah, it looks like there was a bit of a hit here.
Still 2 abreast in P3, P4 coming through this first sector here. Jeremy already running away. Car 55 taking it off track, going off-roading a little bit.
Pretty clean so far, though.
Ooh, that pink McLaren, that's Peter. Had a beautiful overtake there. 7 looking to try to get back with him. Trying to stay inside, not quite able to do it. And now they're all settling in towards the hairpin for the back straight. And slipstream is going to matter. Jeremy is not safe. He's got Eric Diaz 2/10 behind him. That is well within slipstream and attack range. Jeremy going a little bit defensive. Going very defensive. Staying on the outside. Eric trying to stick on the outside. Heavy into the brakes. Tries to cut inside. He's able to hang on, but he doesn't have the inside line. Jeremy keeps a position. Oh, right up on his rear bumper. No contact. Joel getting an overtake. He's now in P4. Peter in P5. Oh, some banging, some bashing there that sends Joel wide. But he still has the inside line. He doesn't quite take it back. Oh, that's 2 positions he lost there. Peter taking the advantage, going around the outside.
Yeah, Peter definitely came in there and took advantage of that one.
Absolutely, and that's super important at the beginning of the race here, but you got to make sure not to take too much damage. That's going to rack up quick.
See Jeremy and Eric just almost running away with it here.
Absolutely, they're already having a good split. They've got about 2 seconds behind. They're absolutely running away here. Peter looking to overtake on Daniel here. Probably not going to be able to do it too much in the first sector, but as long as he sticks close, he will have an opportunity at the end of that straight. But he's got to be safe because Claus is right behind him. He can't go to anything too risky. Can't make any major mistakes, otherwise he might get taken advantage of as well.
Yeah, it's a good battle going on here between
Big
4 all
train
the
in
way
the
to
back
5.
here. Stork with an overtake and Arjun as well. Let's take a look at that really quick, see what happened. Ooh, good battles going on. 959, they do touch a little bit. Oh, and a little bit sideways. So that's what ended up happening. Yellow car goes in the grass to try to avoid. Cuts a few corners and Arjun's just right there. Taking care of it, looking on the inside. Tries to stick his nose in there, but nothing quite happens with it. Now we're back live. Mitch's able to get back in front of Stork. Massive train in the back. We have a lot of battles going on back there, but we got to keep an eye up ahead because JD, Peter, and Ivan are all still fighting.
Yeah, 4, 5, 6 are having quite the battle right now there. There's a lot of good battles going on right
Whoa, 3 wide going into the last turn. 45 taking a little bit too much curb. To try to avoid an incident, Arjun does go up. Ilpo does fall back just a tad, but Arjun having to go very defensive here because Ilpo's looking on the inside. Ooh, he's still got the inside. Arjun backs out a little bit. That's Ilpo with a clean overtake. Arjun's still absolutely trying to get back in there, seeing what he can do. Pit window is open. It is open for 70 minutes, this race, which means only the last 5 minutes and the first 5 minutes were they not able to pit. Now they're able to pit without consequence, and we might see some weird strategies going on here where guys pit, you know, the last 10 or 15 minutes of the race. Kind of doubt it, but it is certainly possible.
Well, that's what I'm thinking is if you're going to change tires, are you doing it midway or you want to wait till the end and maybe push for the last, you know, the last little bit?
Absolutely. Arjun got a little bit loose on that exit there. Moss looking to go around the outside. Arjun very defensive on the inside. Going around the outside absolutely is a valid strategy because you will have the inside line on the next turn. Does end up backing out of it. Doesn't take too serious of a look on the inside. Ooh, but 86 looking on the outside, not going to be able to make it stick. Some very close fighting in the back here. Let's take a look back in the front again. Ivan with JD. Oh!
Yeah.
JD loses it a little bit, has to go inside. That's going to mean he loses a position to Peter.
Yeah, Peter making up some good spots tonight.
Absolutely, he's P4 already. And he is barely still in the slipstream of Ivan. Let's see if he can get a little bit closer in the Sector 1, get a little bit stronger of a slipstream for that back straight. Let's take a look back. We have Oswin. Very close battling still back here. Trying to take a look at the outside. Not quite able to make it, but he does have a little bit of a cleaner... Little bit more speed through there because he took that wider line.
I haven't been holding that third position there, doing very well.
Absolutely. Let's take a look again. Peter and JD still fighting. JD getting very close behind him. But they're all in the slipstream now. Ivan is the only one that's not quite close enough for a slipstream. So he's the only one that's going to be stuck out of that slipstream. JD swoops to the inside. He does back out. He doesn't take it. But putting a lot of pressure on Peter. Putting a lot of pressure on Peter.
Lexus has good straight line speed, doesn't it? Especially on a long stretch like that, he'd be able to pick up a lot of time.
Possibly. I'm honestly not too sure about which cars are going to be fastest in a straight on this track. Because you do have to have a decent chunk of downforce for your Sector 1 and Sector 3. You can't sacrifice too much for your Sector 2, otherwise you're just going to lose a heck of a lot of time.
Right, so their setup might reduce it a little bit.
Absolutely could. Still fighting for P3 here. Three-way fight for P3. They're all trying to get a little bit closer, trying to get that pressure put on.
Yep. Peter's definitely putting a lot of pressure on Ivan.
Yep, he feigns a look on the inside. Doesn't affect Ivan, he doesn't go defensive. He does have to take a little bit narrower of a line. But I don't think that's going to matter, because Peter's not close enough to try to take it in the inside for here. You really don't want to try to make a move through there anyway. Peter getting a little bit loose. Not having a good exit, and JD right behind him. Peter does still have the inside line, but JD is able to take it through. Does a good old switcheroo, but they're still fighting. Peter's not done yet. Oh, he gets squeezed out. Peter taking it easy through the hairpin. Might be waiting for an opportunity on the back straight. He is certainly close, has a little bit better of an exit than JD. And has that toe. Is he going to go for the lunge? He's thinking about it. He doesn't do it. He doesn't feel like he's close enough. Sector 3 is a perfectly fine place for some overtakes too. He tries to go around the outside, maybe try to do a switchback, but doesn't look like it's going to happen. JD doing
staying close, buying his time, I think.
Yeah, he's certainly looking for places, but JD doing a fantastic defensive drive. He's not trying to go out of his way too much and be super defensive, which means he's able to keep his time up a little bit. And he has to, because he has to stay in the slipstream of Ivan. If he doesn't, then there is certainly a possibility of him just being dead in the water on the back straight.
Peter looks like he got a good exit there too.
He absolutely did. It's a really hard overtake though for this T1 because it's such a blind turn and it does have such a weird camber. He does feign a look inside, but he doesn't take it. But as you can see, all that fighting, and Claus is right behind. He's ready for any small mistake that either of those drivers make and can absolutely capitalize on the situation.
Yeah, somebody in his position, just let them fight. Just let them go and just, wait for the mistakes and try and capitalize, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no need to go in there and start fighting, especially with an 80-minute race. You're more than welcome to sit back and enjoy the tow and save those tires a little bit.
Nobody pitted yet, so nobody pit windows open, but still nobody went in there. Oh, well, actually we have, Kerry's still in there. I guess he never got out.
Yeah, I suppose he never got out. No, he did get out. He's just taking a very early pit stop. Not sure if he has damage, but he is on the same lap as everyone else right now. Not sure if that was
our first pit stop.
Not sure if it was a return to garage or what happened here, but I suppose we'll have to take a look and see if he goes back out on track.
Yeah, I'll monitor this there. I think he might be going back out in a second.
Peter with a fantastic drive. JD as well with a fantastic drive. He's starting to get in the slipstream of Ivan again. I mean, that just goes to show how fast these guys are, that JD, with all that pressure on him, having to do a little bit of defensive driving, is still catching up to the car ahead.
Looks like Kerry was a retirement.
That is unfortunate.
Retirement of the race for that one.
Oppo looking
like
around the outside.
Looks like Jeremy and Eric are running away with it here. Got a big gap, almost 7 seconds to Ivan.
Absolutely right. Eric is out of the slipstream right now, so he might start falling back a little bit from Jeremy. Ooh, he did have a good exit there, so he is still staying in a little bit. Let's take a look at this three-way fight for P9. Looks like there was just an overtake on Arjun. Let's take a look there and see what happened. Arjun takes a little bit too much of that speed bump. Doesn't quite hold on to the car, has to go into the grass, gives up a position.
Well, looks like Arjun got a bit of a nudge here too.
Certainly very defensive right now on this back straight. I don't see too terribly much damage on his car, but that doesn't necessarily mean much. Wilson, looking on the inside, doesn't quite stick with it. Ooh, Mitch taking a little bit of curb there. Doesn't seem to affect him too much.
JD's getting pretty close to Ivan here there, but you got Peter sitting right behind him. It's quite the battle for 4, 5, 6 here.
For pointing that out to me. Ooh, Peter taking a look on the inside, feigns it, doesn't actually take it. But JD also being slowed up by Ivan a little bit. He has to get around him pretty quick here. Otherwise, Peter's going to have all the time in the world to put pressure on him and look for mistakes.
So looking at the stats in current position, if Jeremy finishes as he stands right now, and Eric finishes as he stands right now, Eric would
Stork with a mistake. Fell back quite a bit. Sorry for interrupting.
No, that's fine.
All of these guys just had a massive boost in position. Oh, Stark made a mistake on the exit there. Does tap Arjun. But that's not Arjun. That would have been, not sure who that would have been. Almost had another incident going back on the track. Everyone just getting a few positions. They're still fighting in the rear. Stork trying not to be dead last, but doesn't look like it's going to happen as of right now. That doesn't necessarily mean anything, though. There's still an hour left in the race. So far, Mitch with our most overtakes with 4 positions gained so far. Moss following close in P11 with 3. Ilpo right now, a little bit frustrated, I'm sure, by this train. He has lost 3 positions from where he qualified. He's going to be looking to take those back.
Ivan's definitely fighting hard to try and get that position back from JD.
Absolutely. Not sure when that overtake happened. Missed that one. But now, JD has a little bit of an opportunity to run away while Ivan and Peter try to duke it out. Let's see if he's able to get away at all. Ilpo right behind Mitch looking for a position. Mitch swerving all over the track. Ilpo not able to even try to think about making a move. That was quite interesting. Let's take a look back towards this train. Peter getting a little close there. Tries to take a look around the outside, but not quite close enough.
Peter's definitely trying to make a move here. I think he's looking to bide his time and try and get as close as he can.
Ivan is driving very defensive, and I did see the rear step out on him a couple times, so that mistake might be coming. But the question is, how quick can he get this move done? Because JD is certainly starting to run away a little bit.
Klaus seems like he's got the pace behind them too, so.
Jeremy with Diaz right behind him. Diaz has a fantastic few laps and is able to bring it back within slipstream. We might see a battle for the lead here. Let's take a look at Ilpo again in that Aston Martin. Still taking a look at that Audi. I'm sure at this point he's studying his every move, trying to think of a strategy, trying to figure out of where he can get around him, where he can get some overtakes done at. When you're behind a car for a few laps, you certainly see where the other driver is weak in some corners, or what kind of mistakes they end up making with the pressure that you put on them. Whether that be strategy or whether that be handling.
In a long race like this, so are you sitting back just kind of waiting for your move, just watching, you know, and analyzing the driver ahead of you?
Well, with how slow my split is, probably that wouldn't be a bad option to sit back and kind of take a look and wait for them to make a mistake, because at least in my split it certainly would happen. But with how fast these guys are, they don't really have that opportunity to sit around and wait too much. They kind of have to be putting on some serious pressure and trying to put on some serious moves here, because these guys have enough experience racing around other people that they're not going to be making, you know, those big mistakes that you're going to see in silver or bronze.
It's like Diaz has been making some good time and catching up to Mercer in the front there.
Absolutely, only a 3/10 gap. Peter's still looking on trying to get around. He has to play his cards right. He's probably got the faster car going through Sector 1, but that BMW will probably run away on the straight quite a bit. So he's got to play his cards right. I think Sector 3 might be where he tries to overtake. We'll have to keep an eye out. Ilpo's still very close to Mitch in front. Taking a different line than him. Mitch not quite running wide though, just using every bit of track. Again, some serious pressure needs to be put on these guys, because they are not going to make mistakes. Ooh, Claus off track. Loses control. Let's take a look at what happened here. Dreaded Porsche snap. Oh, just rides that curb on the inside. Not quite able to get on that red tarmac like you would want. And just gets a little loose. He doesn't lose a position, but he does have a 6-second gap up to Peter now. I'm sure he's not too happy about that.
Felix closed a bit behind him too, so.
Taking a look at Diaz and Mercer up front again. Diaz still looking to try to get around, taking a little bit of track limitations there. Might have gotten
I'd
a
say
warning
that
for
would
that.
have been off track for sure.
But
It's
just
definitely tight race here between the two of these.
he's certainly trying to push to at least stay in the slipstream. I don't know if he would be thinking about an overtake right now, because honestly, fighting is not going to help too much right now. There's 56 minutes left in the race. The important thing is to try to keep that gap tight. That way he doesn't run away from you, but I don't know, it doesn't make too much sense to fight and try to get that P1 right now, so he might be playing a little bit of a long game.
Yeah, Eric's probably thinking a strategy, maybe an undercut.
Ilpo does end up making that overtake. Let's see what happened. Going around sector 3. Right up his bumper. Mitch going very defensive through there. Ilpo getting a little bit of an undercut done. He does have the inside line through here, and he does take the position. Now in P9. Solid overtake, and again, that's just all about sitting back, waiting, seeing where your opponent is strong, seeing where your opponent is weak, and then taking advantage of that. He had quite a few laps to sit behind him, see what kind of moves he could do, and he executed that just about perfectly.
I think he's not far away from Turnbull here. Looks like he's chasing him down pretty good.
Yeah, he's 4/10 behind. That bright blue car. Oh, but Mitch is not happy. Misses his braking a little bit. Doesn't make any contact or anything like that, but Mitch certainly wants that position back. Whoa, aggressive move to the inside. Ilpo having to feign back to the right side. Quite an aggressive move at the last minute, right before the braking point. Very F1-esque. Ilpo biding his time a little bit in Sector 3, just trying to get close. I'm sure that move was a little bit of a surprise there. Very aggressive for quite a long race.
I don't think it'll be too long there. I think he'll be coming and taking Turnbull's position here. He's fighting pretty hard for it.
Oh, absolutely. I think his lap times are a little bit faster right now. They certainly are. So he is certainly gaining, and as we can see, Turnbull is a very defensive driver, which is going to be a double-edged sword because Mitch is able to look up the inside a little bit. Not quite able to make it around the outside. Let's take a look at Ivan and Peter again. Very close gap between those two. Coming into the hairpin here. Let's see if Peter makes a move. He does look up the inside, but doesn't take the move. But right on his bumper, out on the exit. Depends on how good of an exit, but as you can see, that BMW just running away from the McLaren, comparatively. That BMW has no slipstream. That just goes to show how powerful that BMW can be in a straight line. Peter feigning a look inside. That does make Ivan go a little bit more narrow through here. I don't think it's going to be enough to make a move work, but Peter is certainly looking around the outside. Ivan having to go narrow again because of Peter, and Peter does try to stick it around the outside. They do have a little bit of a touch. Peter not able to take the inside for the sector here. Very tough fighting through here. Peter, again, looking around the outside. Still around the outside. Ivan giving him the room. Peter does end up backing out of that, but that was quite a sequence of moves there. Let's take a look at Ilpo and Turnbull again. Ilpo trying to take a look up the inside. That is a very sketchy move through there, but you can certainly make that work as long as the other driver gives you some room. At the very least, he's certainly applying some pressure.
I think Peter might make a move on Ivan here.
Yep, absolutely. That's why I switched over.
There it is.
Peter does try to make a move around the inside. Let's see if he can make it stick. He does park it on the apex beautifully. And Ivan not able to get the exit he wants, and that is a very clean move. But Ivan does have that BMW. He's in the slipstream of the McLaren now. It is very possible that he gets a move on that back straight with that toe. But it depends on how well he can stick through the first sector through here. And Peter kind of running away with it, with that better downforce that you get in the McLaren. Looks like Ilpo, Turnbull, and Mitch are fighting at it again, but I do want to take a look at what happened on the exit here with Ivan and Peter, and it doesn't look like Ivan has a good exit, which means Peter should be able to hold on to this position. Let's take a look here. Ilpo on the inside takes a look, but he is making it stick. Turnbull does go a little bit wide, gets into those marbles, isn't able to get a good enough exit, and that is a clean overtake for Ilpo.
Yeah, I think James just went out wide there, and then Ilpo just capitalized on it.
Yeah, he certainly applied some pressure, and as we saw, Turnbull was a pretty defensive driver. He was certainly conscious about Ilpo behind, and Ilpo just waited for the right moment and absolutely took care of business there. Hopefully he can hold on to it. Turnbull is still looking for that position back, but that gap is gaining very quickly.
And he's got Mitch right behind him too, chasing him down. So
Absolutely.
a lot of pressure right now.
Mitch not close enough to make a move right now, but he does have a little bit of a better line right now compared to James.
Peter looks like he's running away from Ivan here with it.
Yeah, massive gap with Peter and Ivan. That's pretty much job well done. Peter running away with it. Trying to catch up to JD. 5-second gap. And we are nearing to about when everyone is going to start pitting. So we might see some positions start fluctuating. See some guys that are in more of a back position. Might start looking at pitting a little bit early to try to get some clean air. Or we might see some guys just sticking it out and seeing if they can do a little bit of an overcut. Really depends here. Jeremy and Eric still fighting it out. Eric's still behind, 0.6 of a second gap, just kind of holding on there. Not too serious about trying to overtake. Like I said, just trying to conserve those tires, trying to conserve some fuel maybe. And just making sure Jeremy knows that Eric is still there. And if Jeremy makes one small mistake, Diaz will certainly take the lead.
Looks like the field is spread out quite a bit here now.
It is certainly starting to spread out, but I'm not too worried about it because, again, those pits are going to shake things up. Got 8 minutes until the halfway point. I know a lot of guys pit right at the 40-minute mark.
Yeah, some of these guys probably starting to have trouble with their tires a little bit if they've been pushing a lot from the beginning.
You're absolutely right. We might see a little bit of tire wear from the guys like Peter. And actually, as I say that, Ivan and Claus having a little bit of a fight here. Claus getting very close. Like you said earlier, Claus did definitely have a little bit of a chance of getting back behind Peter, or getting behind Ivan, and it has certainly appeared to happen. There's a fight going on in the very back, though. We got Stork and Rob trying to battle it out. Actually, that's Stork and Arjun. Arjun with a little bit of damage to the front of his car, probably from the beginning of the race, with a little bit of a tussle there. Probably not too much to make a major difference. He's still running pretty okay, getting some decent lap times in. Probably not too happy about his position, but if he does go with the no tire strategy, he might actually be able to make up some time. I don't know what his plans are with that, but that could certainly give him a few positions.
a long way to go with only one set of tires.
Oh, it absolutely is, especially around Circuit of the America. That first sector is a lot of mechanical grip. Ooh, Stark trying to push a little bit too hard, runs a little bit wide. Still within slipstream of Arjun, though. And funnily enough, it does have a little bit more exit speed. Needs to look up the inside. Nothing's going to happen there, but certainly applying some pressure, or trying to at least. Let's take a look back up front. Jeremy and Eric are getting a little bit close. I'm not sure if Eric is trying to look at taking the lead here, especially if they're both looking at taking tires. You might as well start being a little bit more aggressive, seeing if you can get a little bit of room before you go into the pits.
Yeah, was Eric thinking pit first, do the undercut at this point?
I have no
Especially
clue.
if you're changing tires, you know?
Absolutely. I have a feeling that with how these guys are driving and how much they both want this position. Ooh, Mitch in the pits. That's the first person in the pits tonight. But he might just follow, Eric might just follow Jeremy in. Because they are having a hell of a time racing, and I'm sure neither of them want to get rid of that gap that is beneficial for both of them. To run away from the rest of the field. I'm sure they don't want to disrupt that flow too terribly much. But both of them certainly want P1 coming out of the pits. Eric getting very close on the back straight, not quite close enough for a move.
And Mitch is coming out of the pits now there, so he's...
That was a very quick pit stop with Mitch. I have a feeling then that that is a no tire. Could be wrong with that, but that felt a little quick. Claus still trying to look around Ivan. See if he can put some pressure on. Maybe try to get around before the pits. Porsche is most likely going to take tires because that thing can eat tires for days.
Orc's still battling it out with Arjun here.
Joel going into the pits. Very good pit entry.
Klaus is in there too.
Peter and Klaus both going in. Ivan now with a little bit of clean air in P4. A lot of positions swapping around, not going to be able to keep track of it too terribly much, but once everyone pits, we'll have an idea of where everyone is. I know those pits have spread out the field a little bit. Only fight that's really going on is Jeremy and Eric, but again, Eric is not really looking at taking a move right now.
We got Klaus leaving the pits, and we've got Stork in the pits now too.
Klaus with an
And now
overtake
Peter.
in the pits.
Yep.
Overtakes Peter. Mitch quickly gaining. Trying to get a clean last turn there. Hopefully getting a good amount of space. Try to catch up. Certainly not going to be enough to overtake these guys as of right now, but if these guys are on cold tires, he might have a chance. Peter just barely out of the slipstream range, about a 1 second behind. Both cars are going to be fantastic through Sector 1 and Sector 3, but the McLaren does have a little bit more top speed. Turnbull with pressure from Moss behind.
You got JD in the pits.
Yep, JD is in the pits. Wonder if Jeremy and Diaz are gonna pit this lap.
Close to the halfway point, so they might be thinking of coming in here. We got Felix in the pits now too.
Absolutely, Wilson going in as well. Maxstar, I am getting you an invite to the Discord right now. If you give me just one moment. I will post it in the stream for you so that you are more than welcome to join our league.
Looks like everybody's leaving the pits now. We got Felix going out and Wilson going out now. We got Diaz and Mercer coming around the. Wonder if they're gonna pit here.
Doesn't look like either of them are going in.
Yeah.
No, Diaz going in.
Diaz, yeah, Diaz went in. Mercer stayed out.
So Diaz deciding that the undercut might be worth it. I'm not
Right
sure.
on the halfway mark, like you predicted.
Yep, absolutely. A lot of those guys like to pit right at the 40-minute mark. Makes it real easy to calculate where everything is, what you need for tires, what you need for fuel. Moss putting some pressure on Turnbull still. About 5/10 behind him. Going through the third sector here.
Ivan's still staying out, no pit.
Interesting strategy by Ivan. Might be just trying to claw for some clean air. Ilpo's still out as well. He is currently P3. As soon as he pits, though, he will be sent back a few positions.
Still have almost half the field. Well, Arjun just went in the pits now, so I think they're starting to go in.
Ooh, Moss with a faster time through that sector there. Turnbull not quite taking advantage of the track. Playing it a little bit safer. But he can play it a little bit safer in this Sector 1 because there's not a lot of opportunity for overtaking unless you get really ballsy and trust the driver ahead of you.
We're coming up to the pits. I assume he's going to pit here. I assume he's not going to stay out.
Let's take a look and see what he does. He's staying out for another lap.
He's staying out. Yep.
Kurt running a little bit late on the brakes, still trying to get an attack on Turnbull. It's a good, decent exit. Not as quite as good as Turnbull, though. Turnbull not quite hitting that apex, however. Moss with a little better line. Go ahead.
Still top 5 guys have to pit, so we still got Ivan coming around. Ivan's not pitting either. He's going around.
Absolutely right. He's still staying out.
Ilpo's pitting.
Ilpo is in the
pitting.
pits. Jeremy dealing with a little bit of pressure from Arjun behind. Arjun out of the pits and just about a second behind. Might be a good idea for Jeremy to start thinking about going into the pits now. So he doesn't have to deal with Arjun at all. Just let Arjun run free. Get himself some free tires and fuel.
He's in the pits now. And yeah. Got Elpo leaving, so only a couple guys here left to pit, and I'm curious if Mercer's going to pit here.
Yep, certainly taking... He's got to be thinking about it at this point. He is still faster than Arjun, so he's still running away. But I have a feeling that he's saving tires a little bit, because although Arjun does have fresh tires, Mercer is still a decent chunk faster. So he might be saving tires. He's still staying out. Still got a lot of clean air ahead of him. I'm sure he's thinking about that. And as long as he still has confidence in his tires, still has confidence in his fuel, he can stay out for as long as he wants. Again, he can pit all the way until up to 5 minutes before the end of the race. So if he really wanted, he could play some weird strategies.
He's had the pace, you know, throughout the race, so.
Absolutely. Austin Turnbull's still fighting it out. Still with a little bit better of a time overall. A little bit better of a line overall, in my opinion. But not able to capitalize.
This is pitting.
Haas is indeed pitting. Decides, nope, that's enough fighting for me. I'd rather get some tires and some fuel. And hopefully head out in a different fight. Claus and Pete are fighting it out for P7. This fight very reminiscent from what we saw before. They pretty much equaled out by the time they both left the pits. McLaren with a little bit faster of a top speed down the straights, and he's got the toe ahead. Does have a very good chance of overtaking on a straight. Mercer getting a little close to the end of the field, and he's going in finally. He's going in on lap 21.
Let's see if Ivan goes in now.
I don't think it matters too terribly much. Ivan, although in P2, is still quite a bit away from Jeremy. That just goes to show you how fast Eric and Jeremy really are. Jeremy might still be in front of Ivan, depending on whether or not Ivan goes in the pits or not, and how fast a pit stop Jeremy has. There was a 27-second gap before he went to the pits.
It's like Mercer's coming out of the pits and Ivan's coming down the stretch now.
Yep, Ivan does overtake. He does stay out. Again, he's got that clean air as long as he trusts the tires, which, it's a BMW. He's got to be driving pretty safe if he still trusts the tires at this point. You can certainly make him last for quite a while, but if you are racing on the very edge of the BMW, it will eat your tires. Peter getting very close to the bumper of Klaus. See him taking a look up the inside here. Not quite backing out. Does have the inside. Having a drag race down the straight. Peter with the inside line, so he should have it. And that And again, that just shows the McLaren has a little bit better of a top speed than the Porsche. Porsche is still looking for a little bit of a switchback. Not going to be able to do it, but he does have a little bit of a straighter line going through here. But he just isn't able to carry the speed, and that is a clean overtake by Peter. Peter just absolutely having a hell of a time. Joel, with a little bit of an incident, wasn't quite able to catch it, but I imagine he had got a little bit loose like he did earlier. Ooh, same area, but different situation. Instead of riding the curb, he just got loose on exit. And immediately he loses that gap. He's not going to be happy about that. Moss now looking at Mitch. Ooh, Moss looking around the outside. Mitch stuck. Moss is able to stick it around the inside. That was a beautiful overtake in Sector 1. But can he hold it through the straight?
Yeah, Mitch looks like he's going to try and take it here with the straight stretch.
Yep. Moss does take a little bit of a defensive line. That should mean that Mitch has a little bit better of an exit, but it doesn't look that way. Turnbull is in the pits. That means we are back to... Ivan still needs to take the pits, but otherwise it's Jeremy Diaz. Back at it again in P2, P3, but Eric does not quite have the jump on Jeremy as he would have hoped. He lost a lot of time. And now he's going to have to claw his way 12 seconds back to him. I'm not sure if he can do it. There's 30 minutes left in the race. That's quite a bit of time to make up.
It's a lot of time to make up, yeah, for sure.
Mitch still casually looking at the back of Moss, but Moss running away from him a little bit. Someone just went into the pits. That is going to be Mitch. Mitch goes in. This is a second pit stop, isn't it?
I think so. I think we had another retirement. I think Rob, retired as well. He went into the pits, and I don't see him go out.
Yep, Rob did certainly have a pit, and yes, that is for sure Mitch's second pit stop. Hopefully he's not retiring the car. Hopefully he's just getting some fresh tires or some damage repaired. And hopefully we get to see him back out again. Klaus making up that time insanely quick. Back on the back of Peter again. Maybe Peter made a mistake, or maybe Klaus just had some fantastic driving. But either way, Klaus is still on the back of him. Going down the back straight, we could still see a fight for P4 or P5.
Looks like Mitch is leaving the pits, so it seems like he's going back out.
That's great to see.
And still staying out.
He's really playing it for the long game here. Trying to get as much of a gap as he can, but Jeremy, with a very quick car, 6 seconds behind, and that does sound like a lot, but considering Ivan still has to pit, I mean, that might send him down to P5, depending on when he pits and how he pits. If he keeps that set of tires, he might be able to keep it in podium, but as of right now, at least, it looks like he's going to be sent back to at least 4th place after he does take his pit. Jeremy just absolutely putting in the laps. Last lap at 2:07.49. Ivan's last lap at 2:08.35. So gaining by quite a bit of time.
Looks like Mitch has a drive-through.
Mitch with a drive-through, likely speeding on entry or exit.
That's our first drive-through. I'm kind of happy about that. I would have thought we would have seen maybe a bit more, so that's good.
Yeah, log doesn't say anything, so I don't think it was at the stewards. Not too sure. I don't have chat pulled up. Can't do that in broadcast mode. Wilson, looking at the back of Turnbull. Got a small train going on here for a battle for P10. Ivan's still sticking it out for another lap. We are just about reaching 14 minutes past the halfway point of the race. So Ivan quite overdue for a pit stop. Still staying out, seeing how much time he can get in the clean air. But Jeremy does not care. Lapping just about 7 or 8 tenths faster per lap. That would mean he's going to get him in about 10 minutes, even if Ivan didn't have to pit.
Like Eric might be picking up some time there on Jeremy.
Hey folks, am I welcome back in the booth?
Absolutely you are.
So I think we're seeing a mix of strategies here as we spoke about earlier in the race. Jeremy, I don't think he has taken tires.
Huh.
So that's why I believe he has such a big jump on Diaz currently.
That would make sense, and Diaz is lapping a little bit faster right now, so he might have
Diaz
those
is
fresher
gonna be
tires.
lapping quicker. That's correct. So I'm not sure if it's going to be enough because Jeremy's still managing to improve his time on really worn tires. Not his quickest lap, but he's improving over what he just did previous lap. And so let's see how it plays out. I don't know if Diaz will have enough time to make up the gap.
What do you
either way, should be a good race.
Yeah,
at the end.
absolutely. What do you think Ivan's plan is? He's been staying out this whole time, 15 minutes past the halfway point.
So it would only make sense for him to not take tires at this point. He has already gone so far. I don't know. If I was in his shoes, I would just hang on and not take any tires because taking the required fuel he needs to finish the race is probably only going to be, I don't know, 10 seconds maybe, as opposed to taking tires that's an automatic 30-second time penalty. So at this point, he's out front. Yes, Jeremy's going to catch him. Diaz will probably pass him.
Yeah,
But he should still be safe from Daniel if he doesn't take tires, and then he'll only have about, at this rate, 20 minutes to go depending on when he pits. So
absolutely. We could see fourth place, not quite podium, but certainly very respectable for such
we
an
have another
odd strategy.
drive-through here.
For
Drive-through for Moss. Sorry.
Yeah, Moss has been driving quite aggressive. We have seen him go over the lines a couple times, and would not surprise me. There's been no contact recently, so...
we know how dangerous COTA is with the track limit, so not surprising to see one or two folks get it. These guys are doing fantastic though. It's great to see the consistency from some of these guys. We've seen a few struggling. Klaus has been struggling a little. But in general, I think we've seen very good consistency across the field.
Yeah, we certainly have, and even though we have a smaller field than we did on Bronze, I'd say the fights are certainly better than they were on Tuesday. Seeing a lot more action here. I mean, look at this, still going on for a battle for P10. We still got 3 guys trying to all go for P10.
Yeah, so that's what you have to contend with. I guess the higher you go in any sport is the mentals at that point, because you get to a point where most people can do whatever the sport is really well, and then it becomes mental at that point. So you're trying to wear down each other and trying to not let yourself get worn down. That's what it comes back down to.
Yeah, absolutely. So just to show you how quick Jeremy is going, he's lapping to 206.8 right now. He is 1.5 seconds away from Ivan, and Ivan still has not taken a pit stop. Ivan's got to be feeling the pressure now, and he's got to be feeling that tire wear. A BMW can certainly eat tires if you are not careful and you're overdriving the car just a little bit, or actually just driving the car properly. He's lapping quite a bit slower right now at 208, but if his strategy plays out, he could still very well get a very good position by the end of this race.
Yeah, I still believe Ivan is on for a podium. We'll see how that goes out. I still think he's on for a podium.
It's certainly interesting. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to survive JD, because JD is lapping about a second or two faster right now. But we will certainly have to wait and see. He is still...
That is true. You're correct.
He is still staying out. Absolutely. I wonder how long he's going to stay out, if he's going to pop in at the last 5 minutes of the race. Not too terribly sure. We do have quite a close battle going on here with Turnbull and Wilson. Wilson with a very good exit compared to Moss. Moss improving on his time quite a bit with a 2:07.22. He's ahead there, but he still has a drive-through to contend with.
Wilson and his beloved GTR can't seem to let go of that car. Fair play.
looks like Jeremy is passing Ivan now there, so.
Yep, they just battled it out, and it looks like Ivan pretty cleanly gave up the position. Let's take a look and see.
He's got a pit and splash and dash now, I assume.
Oh, it certainly makes sense. Yeah, you can see him struggling on those tires, just taking it really easy through there. And Jeremy just absolutely, with much better grip, able to just go around the outside. Has the inside line, and there's nothing Ivan could do to protect that.
So according to Sim Racing GP, if Jeremy wins, he takes the championship, and if Eric wins, he takes the championship. I'm not sure how that goes with drop rounds. I heard some discussion about the drop rounds. I'm not sure that we'd have to get those calculated, so I don't want to say anything set in stone. But yeah, it's important. It's come down to the final race.
Well, Smith would be our man for that.
Yeah, so I did some calculations with the drop rounds and everything. So if Jeremy finishes first and Eric finishes second, Eric takes the championship. That's as per my calculation here. I think Eric would have to finish fourth and Jeremy would have to finish first for Jeremy to win it. As per my calculation, with the drop rounds is what I have. So I'm curious here.
Thanks for that, G. I think that's what I heard some folks discussing before the race as well, so you might be spot on with that. Another interesting fact is Diaz has been racing with us for a while now. Obviously, we know he's very fast, but he has not won a season at 604 yet. He has come close a couple times. He's had a lot of bad luck with being disconnected and internet issues, but never an issue with pace. And this might just be the one for him.
I'm certainly rooting for him. He's still got a very good chance here, as long as he doesn't make any too many major mistakes, but considering he's gone that far with a Honda, that is very impressive.
Yes, he's known to be one of the Honda whisperers. Although to be fair, it has gotten a fair bit of buff recently, so it's quite a competitive car now. But he has always driven it, so fair play to him.
Ooh, we got some good fighting here with Felix right behind Ilpo. Ilpo taking it a little bit easier. Might not have taken tires, I'm not too terribly sure.
So if you're Ivan now, what are you thinking? Are you pitting on this lane, on this lap? I assume you're probably going to pit at this point.
I don't see why he shouldn't continue to hold out as long as possible. There's 17 minutes remaining. JD is what, just under 30 seconds behind him.
Yeah, it looks that way.
Maybe he's just stretching it as far as he can go. I mean, I don't know.
Well, he's
already
actually
gone
got
this
about
far.
he's actually got about almost a 45-second gap to JD, because JD has a 26-second gap to Eric, and Eric has a 3-second gap to Ivan. It looks like, if I'm calculating that. So just about 30 seconds.
So he waits till the last pit window, then he has to fight JD off for about 5 minutes.
Do you know how long a pit will take here? As in, so the stop itself, he will probably only be stopped for, at this point, maybe 5-7 seconds with the little bit amount of fuel he'll have to put in. But I'm not sure the pit lane length in driving time.
Let me see if I can figure that out.
So sadly, I do not have that in my sheet that I have a record of. They have not updated that sheet for the American pack. But I would imagine this pit is a little bit of a longer one. I would not be surprised if 30 seconds is not enough buffer to get a splash of fuel and head back out.
Yeah, it might be close. It might be close. It would be interesting to see if Ivan's strategy paid off, and that would be really interesting.
Felix getting a little bit antsy, trying to look his way around Ilpo, but ran a little bit wide there, hit the sausage curbs. Didn't lose too much major time, but did lose a little bit of that pressure, a little bit of that gap. Ilpo driving as smooth and as clean as ever. Ilpo may not be the fastest driver on the field, but he sure is a consistent one, and he is certainly good in battles.
You know what, Ilpo, he's a very good driver. I mean, I've driven with Ilpo a lot, and I must say, you can always trust him on track. You can race door to door with him, and he's always great on track, so
Absolutely.
I don't think there's anything to take away from Ilpo.
Yeah, he's a lot of fun to race around, and he is a master of that mechanical grip, which in Sector 1, that's basically all you got through there. So I'm sure he's a little bit stronger on this track than some of the other drivers. And that reflects he's sitting pretty in P7 right now, defending with Felix behind. Ivan made up some time. Not sure if Mercer made some... No, my apologies. Diaz is now looking to fight Ivan. 9/10 behind.
I think it'll be a lap or two and Diaz will be passing Ivan, I think.
Yep, you can certainly see just how close he got there on T1.
Ivan really should not battle Diaz, because then he loses time himself.
I would agree. It's pretty much a lost position for him. He knows he's going to have to give it up.
Unless he's on the same team as Mercer, then, you know.
Yeah, team orders to hold him up.
Yeah, we could be seeing some Checo orders here. Formula 1 tactics. But no, I don't think so. It would be wise for him to give up the position and not fight it too hard, yeah.
Well, it doesn't look like he's gotten that memo. He's taking some defensive lines, certainly not... certainly looking for a good fight at the very least. Eric does get the run on him. Ivan has to slot in behind, and I have a feeling that is just going to be a clean overtake for him.
Yeah, I think that's it. The Honda is pretty quick down the straights, and he definitely got a better exit as well, so...
Laws with a little bit of an incident. Oh, just gets loose and has to cut across a significant chunk of Sector 1. Hopefully that didn't give him any sort of penalty.
Oh, I feel bad for Klaus tonight. I feel like he's struggling quite a bit here at COTA. I don't know. I don't think the Porsche meshes so well with this track.
No, the Porsche oversteer is quite deadly in that first sector. We've seen him struggle a couple times, and just playing on that edge of that grip with the Porsche is a very dangerous game.
And I mean, credit where credit's due. Klaus is a really quick driver. Just seemed to not be able to get full hands on that Porsche tonight.
He's had some good battles tonight for sure, though.
Zach looking up at the inside of Ilpo. Nothing's going to come from it. Wasn't quite close enough to make it work. Ilpo's still driving his normal line. He's really not paying too much attention to Felix, and as of right now, it's certainly working for him. Zach trying his best to apply pressure, though.
So the Audi is usually really rapid down the straights. If he's able to get a good enough run on him on one of the long straights, you know, we could see Zach challenging Ilpo.
Absolutely, but we can see... I wonder if his TC is a little too low. He's seeming to have a little bit of oversteer coming out of every single corner, at least in that last sector in those last few turns that we were on board with him.
Yeah, that's a very good observation. The Audi can be somewhat tricky to drive as well. The older version of the Audi was worse.
We have an incident with Peter.
A lot better.
Off track. See what happened. Doesn't look like anyone else was involved, but he does give up a position to Klaus. Yeah, just loses it through that turn. We've seen a couple drivers do that.
I'm wondering if he's on really old tires as well.
Felix, looking up the inside there of Ilpo, looks like he almost got the move done. Still very close to Ilpo. Ilpo is starting to drive a little bit more defensive now.
We could... a move might be on here. Ilpo has to defend.
Zach trying to get an undercut done. It's a drag race down the front back straight. He slots back in behind.
He might have the speed here.
Oh, he's absolutely got it. Goes on the inside. Let's see if he's good on the brakes. Taking a really inside line. He really wants this position. Sits on the apex there. Ilpo can't do anything about it. But Ilpo still has the inside line for this next corner, and Ilpo is not done yet. Oh! Felix goes a little bit loose around the outside. Ilpo still gave him a little bit of room on the inside, but Zach backed out a little bit. Oh, some excellent fighting there.
Zach left Ilpo a little bit too much room coming into the hairpin. But it can be tricky to know how much space to leave, especially if you're not on triple monitors or in VR.
Yeah, it certainly can.
That's a great battle.
Really don't want to go that aggressive on the inside unless you're, you know, 3 wide or something like that, because you really want to be able to get as much exit speed as possible, and he just wasn't able to quite capitalize on taking that narrow of a line. He got very close, but running around the outside, he just got into the marbles a little bit, got a little bit loose, and had to slot back in behind him.
So, interesting topic here. Mercer's very consistent, as we know. Raced with him a lot. He's extremely consistent. But Diaz has made up quite a bit of time on him. He's only 4 seconds behind him. I say only because I think after the rounds of pit stops, he was over 10 seconds, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
12,
Yeah, I think. Oh, yeah.
He was 12 seconds behind. Those fresh tires are doing him a hell of a lot compared to Jeremy.
So,
we might see an
see
overtake
how-
on track.
we see how different strategies can play in here. It's very interesting.
Okay, Ivan's got to be thinking pit now. He's got 2-minute window, 2-minute 26-second window here. He's got to be pit.
Yeah, let's take a look, see what he does. And you were absolutely correct. He's going in. Probably just going to grab 1 liter and heading straight back out.
Oh, the
Mitch,
fight is on.
This is going to be tight for a splash and dash to see if he can get out in front of
18
JD.
seconds and closing. Ivan's yet to get to his pit box. I think
JD's
Ivan
gonna
can
get
a
the
good stop.
overtake.
Yeah, I think he's gonna. The pit lane is really long.
Yep,
JD's
he
coming down
certainly
the
is.
stretch now.
Yeah, JD's
Yeah,
gonna
I
get this.
The question is, where is Klaus gonna come here? Because I think Klaus is gonna be pretty close behind Ivan when he comes out of the pit.
He will be kind of close, yeah. But I think he might just make it.
Mitch not happy. He just got a drive-through penalty. And had a little
Ivan
bit
is
of an
out.
incident.
Close.
Klaus and Peters across the line. They're gonna be close. We already know that Ivan's tires aren't great.
Ooh, Peter getting a little bit loose through there. Taking a little bit too much speed. There's only 5 minutes left in the race. Oh, and he takes a drive-through. Oh, no.
Oh, that's not good.
Oh, he's not gonna be happy with that. He was already not too interested in driving COTA. Now he gets a drive-through. He's not gonna be particularly happy.
I think that's going to send him back behind Felix. That's going to put him in 8th place.
He was having a good race too.
He absolutely was. Zach's still behind Ilpo here. And things are certainly going to get a little bit more aggressive. There's not too much time left. Now is the time to make a move. Zach does look up the inside. Doesn't quite have the exit though compared to Ilpo. Slots back in behind. Gets the toe, and as you can see, that toe is very powerful. Especially in the Audi. Does look on the inside. He is sticking it. Ilpo is allowing it, giving him plenty of room. Doesn't fight him on the outside, and as of right now, that is a clean overtake for Felix.
And that's a good move by Felix. He stuck his nose in there.
Oh,
And he ran wide.
he did,
Still has
and Ilpo still tried to take a look up the inside, but... Ooh, Felix a little loose on the outside. Still is able to hold on to it. I don't think Ilpo has too much tire life left. I don't know if he's going to be able to fight back. Well, we've seen Felix go loose pretty much all night long. Ilpo is going to try to think about putting some pressure on and just making sure that he's right behind him, and if Felix makes any sort of mistake, he still absolutely can't have this P7.
This is gonna come down to a last lap battle with Diaz and Mercer. We probably have 2 laps remaining, and Diaz is now 2.5 seconds behind Mercer and closing. Mercer also has traffic in front by the name of Mitch Lush. So I think we're gonna see a last lap battle.
I think you are correct. I'm hoping that Eric can get that time, but Jeremy is starting to push again, and he got a 207.6 last lap. Eric with a 207.05. So we'll be very close.
Pretty
Also
amazing that
depends.
Jeremy still has that kind of time in his pocket. I mean, I know he has burnt off a lot of fuel now, but his tires are really worn.
Absolutely, 80 minutes around Circuit of the Americas. Circuit of the Americas is not a kind track to tires. But he's certainly making it work. His last lap was a 206.8, but Eric with a 206.3. So Eric's still making time, but both drivers going very fast. They're pushing at the end here because they both know that there could potentially be a battle for P1. There's going to be this lap and at least another lap.
Yeah, I think that might be it. I don't think there's gonna be any more after. There's probably 1 lap more after this. That might be it.
As long as
Luckily
both drivers... What?
Yeah, luckily Jeremy's coming down the back straight, so he can hopefully get through the blue flag here a little bit easier. But
You know, I'm thinking he almost wants to stay behind him for as much of the straight as possible. I take that back, though. He does step out. Mitch probably lifted a little bit. Does get around that traffic. Peter serving that drive-through. I'm sure he's not at all happy. But now Diaz is 1.5 seconds away from Mitch. And he still has to get through Mitch before he can get through Mercer. Got a little bit of a train here for P8. Peter out of the pits. He was able to hold on to the position pretty well. But that does give an opportunity for these guys to follow up.
There's only one lap to go. I think Jeremy has it if he doesn't make a mistake.
Let's follow Eric. He just got around Mitch, but he's still got a significant amount of time, 2 seconds, before he can get to Jeremy. So unless Jeremy makes a decent mistake, he should have it in the bag. Eric's last lap was a 2:06.7. Jeremy's was a 2:07.2. Eric with a little bit of internet lag there. Taking a look again at Wilson and Turnbull. Wilson trying his best to stay, and Turnbull is trying to go around the outside. Doesn't quite work out for him. Now's the time to make the move. Wilson did just park it on the apex there. Pretty good defensive driving. Turnbull's certainly the faster driver right now and certainly wants to get around, but doesn't look like he's going to be able to do that.
Good battle with Stork and Turnbull there. They're definitely fighting for the finish there.
Absolutely. Both drivers still going at it all the way to the very end of the race.
The leader has finished the race.
The leader has finished. That's Jeremy in P1, Diaz in P2, and JD is going to bring up P3. Still looking at this fight. Stork wants to get around Turnbull. Don't think it's going to happen.
Might get him here.
He might. Turnbull aggressively on the inside, trying to defend a position. Stork runs a little bit wide, runs into the sausage curbs on the outside, and I think that's going to do it. Felix and Ilpo. Another race at the end here, but as long as Felix is driving good, looks like he's going to hold on to the position. He absolutely does. Let's take another look. Turnbull driving really aggressively, trying to get around Wilson. Doesn't look like it's going to happen, but we do have one last turn. Both drivers drive it clean, drive across the line, and they all hold the same position. That was a fantastic race tonight. We have Jeremy in P1, Eric Diaz in P2, and JD Daniel in P3. What a fantastic race.
Yeah, that was a good race. And I think, by my calculations here, I think that Eric got the championship by just 10 points by the looks of it, if I have my calculations correct.
No kidding.
Yeah, yeah. Looks like Jeremy had 459 and Eric had 469. So yeah, it was pretty close.
Can't ask for a closer race. Let's take a look at the final timings here. Sadly, since some drivers left, I don't have quite the full field on this one.
Yeah, we had a few retirements throughout the race.
But as we can see, fantastic race overall. Jeremy brings home the fastest lap with a 2:05.7, which is just ridiculous for a race lap. But Eric following it up with a 2:05.8. Some fantastic driving, and as we could see, that strategy by Jeremy really did land, and it did actually work out for him. I'm not sure how he did it, but he was able to keep those tires going for the entire race.
Yeah, Ivan did pretty good too. It looked like he did the same kind of strategy, so.
Absolutely, it certainly worked out for him. That put him in P4. I know timing says P3, but that's because JD left the server. But he's able to keep P4, and that will land him some really good championship points. Thank you both.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the amateur. I'm trying to do the math for the amateur, but I'm not sure how it works for the scoring the way it works, so it's a little bit harder to figure out. But I believe Wilson may have won the championship, maybe in the amateur side of the gold anyways.
Well, this was a heck of a lot of fun to watch and a heck of a lot of fun to broadcast. Thank you both for driving me today, thank you both for joining me today, Smith and Joel. It was a lot of fun. Thank you guys for everything.
Thank you very much for having me.
doing this.
Green line. Give it all you got.
All right, let's finish it out. Drivers leaving the server. Thank you all for joining us tonight. We hope to see you in perhaps some of the off-season races, but certainly for next season. So thank you very much for joining us, and have a wonderful night.